Warning. This episode is reviewing a game that involves a strobe effect that sometimes envelops the entire screen and could possibly cause a seizure. If you're prone to seizures, then I advise you not to watch any further. Thank you for your support, and the episode will now start in 3, 2, 1. The Sega Genesis, the very definition of an edgy teenager of the early 90s. It's got style, it's got attitude, it's so mature. It's that arrogant fuck that realizes he's nothing after high school. Like, honestly, that's the best way to describe Sega in general. As much as I love them, the only success they ever had in the console market was pretty much the Genesis. Everything else was either decent at best, like the Game Gear or Saturn, complete garbage like the 32X or Sega CD, or in the Dreamcast case, well, too little, too late despite how awesome it was. And while Sonic would go on to be Sega's sole reason for still being relevant in 2017, there was a time when Sega was a name to be proud of. At one point, it was a real competitor to Nintendo, who, let's face it, had a stranglehold on the console market back in the late 80s and 90s, and it was a competitor because the Genesis could stand on its own 2 feet. This was thanks to its distinct library of games. One of these then exclusive games was Steel Empire, or Empire Steel depending on what you prefer, was published by Flying Edge, a division of Acclaim. Which, that right there should be a red flag to some, but thankfully, Flying Edge was one of the good things about Acclaim. Anyway, they used Flying Edge as a publishing tool for select games, and of course Steel Empire was one of them, and not to mention, the name Flying Edge suited this game perfectly. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Somewhere, sometime, in a world almost familiar, it is the age of steel. The Motorhead Empire has conquered and enslaved virtually the entire planet. What the fuck? They alone had the will and the weapons. Hey, got that one. Their Striker airplane and Zep-01 flying ship can defeat the biggest of Motorhead's juggernaut. What? Okay, now you're just fucking with me. Why you go so fast? Why you put in pauses when you have to fucking speed read this shit? Are you trying to keep us from reading this kind of awesome backstory? Fucking cocksuckers, so if we actually slow it down and summarize the description from Wikipedia, there I cited my source to shut up. During the year 18XX, it's the Age of Steel, an age almost familiar. Mammoth, floating steam-powered battleships cruise the skies, and gigantic armored locomotives carry cannons the size of railway cars. And anyone watching actually give a shit? I thought not. So long story short, Motorhead Empire bad, Silverhead good. You play as Silverhead. Oh my god, I just realized this. These sound like names for dildos. Ugh. But as you can tell, this has a World War II vibe. Okay, I'm done. As you can tell, this has a World War II vibe to it despite it taking place during the Industrial Revolution. You know, out of every video game I've ever played, I have never seen someone so arrogant. You know what this music sheet is saying, right? It's saying that my shit don't stink. Yes, our soundtrack is that good. Okay, but pardon my French when I say this, but in this case it's justified because Steel Empire's soundtrack is sealin' top notch. No, I didn't screw that up. If you know a little French, you know exactly what I'm saying there. But you need proof? Well, stage 1. This music's ass has been doing some kicking because this is fucking amazing. And oh yeah, I just spotted this. The Striker has full health in the demo, and at level 1 too. That isn't supposed to happen. What are you trying to tell me, game? As I am not confident with that. So, level 1. The Motorhead Empire has never failed to Okay, now I know you're just fucking with me. You go from way too fast to read to so goddamn slow that it's like, fuck it, skip it. Okay, I know you're just trolling me at this point, but you know what, game? I got this thing called a pause button. So you know what? You lose, get. So after I reset the game, fuck you, I finally get to choose between the Striker or the Zeppelin, which I do appreciate. Always having a choice is a good thing. And your choice is basically between a bulky but slow aircraft that can take a few more hits, or one that is quicker and smaller but is a lot more vulnerable. Personally, I prefer the Striker since it's able to dodge more, plus it shoots bombs downwards, which I find a lot more helpful than the Zeppelin that shoots bombs above it. But nonetheless, it's time to defend Rawl from tanks, airships, dildos, lawnmowers, flying tractors, and windmills. Windmills. Metalhead, you truly are an advanced empire. No, I'm not kidding. I'd shit my pants if a windmill started flying and shooting rockets at me. But as you can see, Steel Empire is a typical space shooter that doesn't really do too much from the rest other than the distinct steampunk theme, and probably its biggest addition, which is the ability to shoot backwards. At first, one may think that shooting backwards isn't that big a deal, but this mechanic allowed for much more variety in enemy layouts and level design. Even now, a lot of space shooters are usually always moving in one direction, and have the things you kill only being thrown at you in the direction you're going. Well, that sometimes happens here, but more times than not, you'll have enemies coming from every angle, which can get a little hectic. And a lot of slowdown, which for a game like this is actually very welcome, since it allows you to dodge shots a bit easier. This happens a lot though, so it makes you wonder if it was intentional. But alongside the slowdown, you get some power-ups to help you along the way. Health pickups, those lightning bombs that act like nukes, these little helper things, experience points that level up your ship to have stronger shots, the S-ball that to this day I still don't have a clue of what the hell it does, and money, aka points, aka who gives a flying fuck. But you went for it because, well, why the hell not? So each level is generally set up into 2 acts with a mini-boss, and later on...
You sound like a big choo-choo train.
Yeah, so the first boss is a train. After seeing this, you can pretty much tell that anything goes in this world, especially considering this is one of the more tame creations. But as you can see, these sections simply go as shoot key parts of the machine until it blows up, all the while dodging the bullet hell these bosses throw at you. Sounds fun? Yes, I know. Now before I go any further, I don't want to give you guys the wrong idea. Even though I've been ripping on Steel Empire left and right so far, I do actually enjoy this game a lot. But reviewing these old games can be so weird that I just can't help myself sometimes. You know, like it's easy to come up with funny stuff with shitty games, hell, some games write itself. But to think of some funny stuff to say about a good game, now that's a challenge, because without a doubt, Steel Empire was a great game for its time. But you're not funny. If the music and style of level 1 doesn't make you appreciate this game, then level 2 definitely will. Because I feel the caverns really show off what Steel Empire can do. You're shooting in front, then shooting backwards trying to dodge the falling rocks as you descend deeper into the caverns. This flashlight boss was pretty interesting. Then you do like a chase sequence where you need to dodge all the walls itself, and it can be actually pretty challenging. I also love the risk versus reward aspect here with the item pickups. They swirl in and out of the walls, and touching the walls in this game is bad, like real bad. So that health pickup, it's taunting you. It knows that it's suicide, or at the very least you'll lose more than you'll gain. But it's still an upgrade, and like every other jackass out there, you go for it and then you die a little inside. Or you fucking die literally. Take your pick. Defeat another boss and it's on to stage 3, and to be honest, this is probably the most boring level in the game. Mainly because it has no level gimmicks. You're not flying in and out of terrain or having a chase sequence. No, you're high in the sky in the entire level, you don't really dip into new scenery, and you start to notice a common trend in Steel Empire. Reuse bosses. I mean, it kinda makes sense that Motorhead wouldn't just build one kind of big ship each, but as a game, that is a little disappointing. But there are 2 things that really make up for this level being so tame. The music, and the second half. I love Stage 3's opening music, it's so mellow with a bit of mystery. The calm before the storm, and that's exactly what it does, and it does it well. Because the second half is this epic battle against a flying fortress and then a giant warship. Where in both cases, you gotta maneuver in and out to damage it, but due to the size of these things, they don't leave you a lot of room on the screen and it can get very tense. I love it and it's one of my favorite stages. Stage 4 is pretty tame too. It's the water stage of the game though, outside of the fact that this level takes place over a supposed beach, it's pretty much by the books. But the nice thing is there isn't much terrain or huge obstacles that back you into a corner, so it's all about your reflexes. Also, another pro for the stage, though a con for the game itself, is that this is the last level that introduces original bosses. Unfortunately, after this, we don't see anything original until the final level, which is a shame cause Jesus Christ, this flying submarine fish thing was awesome! Like, it makes you wonder just how creative and off the walls the developers could have been if they truly wanted to. Or maybe this is all they could come up with. Wouldn't be surprising since they didn't really ever change much in the remake. Now, on to stage 5, and yeah, you can tell just by the sound of that siren, shit's going down. The final confrontation is here. Motorhead, it's time to meet your maker. What? I'm alone. I'm all that's left. My comrades, my brothers in arms, gone. Because this fucking fleet only has 2 pilots. One ship against an entire empire. What the hell am I gonna do? Burn them all to hell! Die, motherfuckers! So yeah, I think you're starting to see a pattern here. Great art style, awesome music, kill some minions new and old, and then revisit a previous boss with slightly different attacks and color. But in this case, we take down 2 in a row! One of those for fuck's sakes moments for sure. Stage 6 is more or less the same as Stage 2, but kind of in reverse. But if I could say anything, I want to say, what the hell were they thinking with the music in this one? Silverhead just suffered a near fatal blow, and yet the stage right after sounds like they achieved victory. Like, I can only always had to laugh at that one. But other than that, there isn't anything worthwhile to mention. Yay, another fucking choo-choo train, whoop-de fucking do. But I always liked Stage 7 though. You finally made it to Motorhead's base of operations. You're in the belly of the beast now, and it shows. You guys, enemies coming in every nook and cranny at full force, and you have to dodge big obstacles constantly. Now, I know I keep talking about the music in this one, but it's just so good, and this one does it so amazingly. You're in the unknown now. This is behind enemy lines, and everything is so foreign. And this creepy, almost Halloween theme fits it so perfectly. You finally get to see what this empire that is the personification of evil has to offer with their bright blue and lime green terrain. And their purple and pink rockets. Pretty fruity colors for an organization called Motorhead, and whoa, what? Oh my god, like what the fuck, man? Did this game forget what it was supposed to be? You know, like it's all colorful and fabulous, but then it's like, oh shit! This was supposed to be a war game! Oops! Oh, that fucking... Oh. This honestly cracks me up every time, because this transition is just so jarring. Especially when the final stage sends you to the moon to fight those said big pink rockets. You ain't fooling anyone at this point. But now we have made it to the final stage, and it's actually pretty calm. You only fight a couple of these rockets that act like mini-bosses, and then you face off against this thing. The very definition of slowdown. If you were questioning whether or not slowdown was intended in Steel Empire, well then I think you got your answer, because this was a godsend in this final battle. This machine can take so much punishment and can take you out so quickly if you're not careful. Honestly, I'd be terrified if there was any slowdown here. But this is a pretty good battle. He's throwing everything he's got at you, and it's a constant struggle. With floating rocks blocking your shots, it makes things even more tense as you glide through this bullet hell. But this is where the game design was ingenious. They managed to make those rocks that were aggravating as hell into your only form of defense in its final form. Like, look at that! Again, like that's pure genius, and honestly, what a great way to end this game. So there you have it, another cult classic for the Genesis, and as you could imagine, like many Genesis games, I feel it was worthy of a sequel, but it never happened. Not to say that they didn't try though. They remade it for the GBA and, oh boy, well let's start with the good. Presentation for the most part is okay. It looks pretty good for the GBA, though the strobe effect is a lot worse here. Even this was hurting my eyes, so I suggest skipping cutscenes if you're playing this on the big screen. Thankfully, there's no more slowdown, and enemy placement is changed to accommodate this version, and the fighters you get to pick have different shooting properties instead of just having different bombs. And some of the bosses are remixed or changed, so disregard what I said about earlier about out of ideas. Clearly weren't. My bad. And now the bad. Oh, it's so fucking bad. Musically, it takes a hard hit. Like, this game sounds 8-bit, and for GBA standards, that's honestly pretty pathetic. Plus, this game suffers screen crunch big time. But the number one worst thing about Steel Empire for the GBA is... they knock you back a level every time you fucking die. Yeah, how much fucking sense does that make? And it don't fucking matter how close you are to the next level either. Oh, you need one more item pickle to raise your level? Well, fuck you, go back to 0 and collect these red P items that you could potentially miss if it's blocked off. Leveling up is a hell of a lot harder than the original to begin with, and every time you bite the bullet, and you will thanks to this game's screen crunch, it penalizes you that badly? This is the equivalent of a party member fainting in an RPG and having to regrind just to get that character back to where you had him just to attempt to fend off the tougher enemies later on, but with limited lives and continues. Oh, like seriously? Go fuck yourself, whoever thought this was a great idea, you fucking dickhead. Happy place, happy place. But another 10 years later, Steel Empire would make another return for the 3DS, completely remade from the ground up with a new engine, graphics, and music. But one problem. They wanted $30 fucking for it. Are you guys nuts? This is still a game that you can beat well under an hour. I don't care how much prettier it looks. Even $10 would have been kind of pushing it. Given when they released it in Europe a year later, they did slash the price in half. For them. You go on the 3DS eShop in North America and it's still $30. Like, I'm all for supporting developers, but fuck that. If I'm gonna spend that much money on a game, I'll just buy the original. Because while you will pay more since it's considered a collector's item now, at least you can still sell the Genesis version. There's value there. Until a price drops, just emulate it, because this is a game that needs to be played, but not when you're bankrupting yourself in the process. Oh, that fucking hurt. Ow. Fuck. Hey guys, thanks again for watching and happy 2017. I know a little late, and again I know, sorry this one kinda took a bit, but if you watch my update video then you kinda get the idea why.
I haven't been in the best shape, and well, pain isn't the best motivator, but hopefully things get better soon. If you're still watching, then click on all the crap most people tell you to at these parts, and I'll see you in the next video in a couple weeks.